I would count cereal as a meal. I don't know where you fall on it, but I'm gonna go with meal.
Oh my gosh, you guys, Olen wrote a song about me. How cool.
I love Bucky's. I will never ever say a bad thing about my beaver.
Not me stumbling across this and being like, wow, this is so iconic. He features himself in a song. I haven't seen that before.
I'm all in on the Highland Park thing.
Welcome to Unshut, a place where if at any point you feel like you need to shut the up, don't. Hey, Olen, can you hear me?
I absolutely can.
Amazing. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
Doing good. I like the audio. It's so crisp.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just realized I hadn't downloaded like the Zoom Workplace app, so I was kind of freaking out because I've had issues like before with like syncing my audio interface to Zoom or Discord or whatever. So I'm glad it's actually working.
No, it sounds really good. How's your morning been so far?
Honestly, so far so good. I don't know if you're like this, but if I don't have my gallery up, like I can't, like if I can't see myself, then I'm gonna be like, oh, what do I look? I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. So far so good. Took the pup on a walk. Her name is Paloma, and she's like 3-ish years old. We think she's a German Wire Pointer, but she came from this place, like a local animal shelter place called Irvine Animal Care. So we don't super know what she is, but she's like 60-ish pounds and she's got a lot of energy and yeah, she's amazing. So we just got back from a walk.
And I did the same thing with my standard poodle. She's pretty chill. Right now, she's trying to come inside the room, but
Uh-huh.
we've been working on giving space and having, her own time away from me, not being my fucking shadow. So
How old is she and did you get her like during the pandemic?
she's 2 years old, so a little bit after.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I think that was probably, I mean, part of it we're just home all the time, and so they just got so used to us being around all the time. So I totally get it. I don't blame them. They love us. So I totally get it, but like when she gets in your room, is she like make noise or is she like always coming up to you or something? Like does it get in the flow of like work zone?
Not really. To be honest with you, I love it when she's my shadow because I have severe attachment issues to her and her little sister. They're Pia and Poppy. They're the cutest little standard poodles ever. But what's recently
Oh,
happened is they, out of nowhere, started to like come into the pod room when I'm recording. And out of nowhere, they're very skittish. So if I start to laugh too loud, they'll jump and get scared. And the oldest one recently like dropped my ring light while I was recording. So
oh
I'm like,
shoot.
you know what? We're going to give a little bit of space when I'm in the room recording now. So we've been working on
Yeah.
that boundary. But other than that, throughout the house, please follow me. It makes me feel loved and needed.
Right. Yeah, it's just so nice to have a constant companion. So sorry, I think you cut up for a second. You have two poodles?
Yes, I have two of them,
Oh, okay. What are their names?
Pia and Poppy.
Oh, lovely. I love that.
They're my soulmates. They're the best thing that ever happened to me.
We don't deserve dogs, do we?
We really don't. Honestly, no. The other day, it's funny you even say that because the other day I came home and I was just kind of in a funky mood, but they were just so happy to see me. And I'm like, you know what? It's so undeserving how they don't know if I leave the house and if I'm a piece of shit human, but I come
Right.
home and they don't care. You know what I mean? They're just
Yeah,
so
there's no
loving.
judgment. No
No
judgment
judgment.
there. Yeah. I mean, it's just awesome.
Now that we're in our feels about pups, I guess we can get into our feels about music.
Absolutely. I'm ready.
You've been around for a hot minute, what I would like to say. You
Oh yeah.
started 15 years ago posting on YouTube and doing covers.
Yep.
It's crazy how 15 years can fly by so fast, right?
Now that you're saying it and I'm thinking it, yeah, it does feel really insane. Gosh, yeah, YouTube. I don't know. Like wow, okay, yeah, so you did a little bit you did a little bit of homework. I feel like I've like privated so many YouTube videos over the years because they're so like not that they're I don't know, I was just so much younger and like they feel kind of like I don't know. I don't want to like shit on my older self, but they feel kind of like if I look back on some of them, I'm like, all right, no one can ever see this one. So I only left the ones up that I'm like, all right, this one, this one's accept like it's not too embarrassing. But yeah, it is to your point. It is kind of crazy. Like I live with my parents still, and so it's like kind of crazy. Where it's like in this room, which has now become like my studio. It's like it is weird. I don't know. Like I've posted, you know what I'm saying? Like posted videos for forever in there, and so like on some, and I'm still here. And like when I'm with the band, we rehearse in my garage still. So it's like it is crazy how fast everything changes, but then there's those things that like have stayed constant, at least for me, which are comforting.
I love it. And I love that you even say that you've taken some down. And I'm glad you didn't take this one down because it was my favorite. You covered a song by The Script, The Man Who Can Be Moved or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that's the one.
It gave me goosebumps. I'm like, I am so glad he didn't take this one down. And I think that one was, I think, 12 to 13 years ago or something. Maybe it was the 15 mark. But all I know is that I'm really grateful you didn't move it because it's one of my favorite songs. And I'm like, this is the cutest thing ever.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's I've been getting back into the script just more recently too, getting back into like I guess I can't remember exactly. Maybe that album is called The Man Who Can't Be Moved. Sorry, script fans, if anyone hears this, but I've listened to that record a few times since, like, actually just in the last few months. They're a really good band. Like, they make really good songs. I think that was a big part of like learning or like why I play music is like getting to like hearing a song, hearing it like 1,000 times, like and just listening to it over and over again and be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna cover it. And then doing the cover and messing up like, 60 times, but then getting the one recording. I'm just grateful to anybody like them specifically who like put out like really cool music into the world so that it inspires me and so many other people. So
That's
yeah,
funny
I
that
don't
you
know what
did.
the point of that was, but
No, I love it. I love that you did that just a few months ago because I recently did the same thing just about a few months ago as well, but it was with the Fray. Do you know who the Fray is?
It's so funny. They just put out a new single. I didn't realize that their lead singer, Isaac Slade, I think, right, is his name. Like he stepped away from the band because I hadn't kept up with them a ton in the last few years. But then I saw that they'd put out a single, and I was like, the lead singer looks very different and he sounds different. But then did like a quick search, and I was like, oh, okay, he left the band and he's now like he's doing his own thing. I think he's living up in Washington area or something now. Like owns a record shop. But yeah, I all that to say, I guess I really do know the Fray.
I actually did not know that, but it was just a few months ago where I just randomly went down the rabbit hole of their old music and I was
Yeah.
just in my feels about it and I couldn't believe how much of their music I could remember and still sing along to. So
Yeah.
I love that. Have there been any songs that you covered that you can remember on YouTube that you still cover today at any live show?
I can't think of anything that I've done in the context of like a live show. One of the things, and unfortunately it's no longer a thing anymore, but for a while I was doing these cover gigs at a local Whole Foods near me, which again just happened so randomly. It was like a friend of a friend who like connected me because they needed people down in my area to like because they had like an entertainment budget and they're like you can come and play. It's like three 45-minute sets and you can play half of the songs to be originals and then half to be covers. I had to learn a lot of music, and one of the songs that I did that I never got to cover or I never covered on YouTube, but one that I did cover a lot at those gigs was The Man Who Can't Be Moved. Sorry, not The Man Who Can't Be Moved, Break Even. The Man Who Can't Be Moved was the one I did on YouTube. Break Even was the one that I don't know, it was like because 3 hours of music, I mean 45 minutes, so whatever, three 45-minute sets of music is a lot. And so I tried not to do like any repeats. I think I could have, but so I was just like deep in like what do I like just searching all the way back, like what do I know? What do I sort of know? And then just kind of like having my little chord chart up there and just kind of muddling through the songs. But I can't think of anything that I like would have covered at like a show that I have done on YouTube. But the context of like the Whole Foods gig, I have covered a lot of songs just over the last few months.
What was the response like for that? That's the most random thing I've heard today.
It was a pretty random opportunity at this Whole Foods, and I'm sure a lot of them are the same, but there's a bar at the Whole Foods, like they call it the Rocket Bar, at least at the location that I was playing at. It's really funny because it's not like the one that I was playing at isn't in some like it's in like Laguna Niguel or like Aliso Viejo or something, like some suburby like Orange County random Whole Foods, and it was definitely very nice and very poppin'. Like a lot of people would show up at least to shop, and then there was like 5 to 10 regulars that I would say that were there on the weekends that like I would see pretty constantly. And they were always super nice. They were always like giving me suggestions to for what to play and whatnot. But like it was weird. At least I'm assuming most people don't go to that Whole Foods to like be sung at or to have anyone like play music at them. So I knew like I was background music for sure. And like there was no stage, there's no stage or anything. Like you bring your own, like I brought my own amp and like it's completely like the only thing that they gave me was a power strip and I had to fight for that. So it's like very like you do everything on your own. You sort of like you stay out of the way of like any of the other workers. You just kind of, make yourself, you put yourself on a table and you just play for a few hours. And for the most part, like everyone that would say like if they made an effort to say something, it was always it was usually very very nice. And then like people would have requests like I was saying, and then most of the time, like probably 85% of the time, it's just like I'd finish the song and then just silence. And, like and then like which again I don't blame them because like they came to a whole they're at a Whole Foods and they're at the bar, they're watching a game, and there's just like some random dude, like random sad boy singing acoustic songs, you know, like yeah, a lot of it was the people that were like that would listen and pay attention, very nice. And then like even the last one I did, like my whole family came, so they're just sitting at a table and I'm just like singing, and they were basically not the only ones there, but there's they were like right in front of me, so I'm just sitting there singing to like my direct family just right there. I don't know it, but I feel like it made me a better musician, and also too anytime I can get paid to make music, like super cool. I'm not gonna like turn my nose up at that, even though it's like it's not the most exciting on paper. It's not like, oh, you get to go play for 3 hours at the Whole Foods a couple times a month. But I think it really stretched me. Sorry, I've been talking for forever. But yeah, it was a weird opportunity. Bummed it's done, but I'm glad to have done it.
Well, and I think it's also such a great reminder too of the support system you have. I know you've recently talked about how you've always been so blessed to be surrounded by really good parental support. And so I feel like local gigs like that, they are a really good reminder of that support system that you've had and why you keep pushing the way you keep pushing. So if anything, Whole Foods will forever hold a different place in your heart. And you can always say you played for your family at Whole Foods. I think that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. It's a experience. I won't ever forget that, like those gigs. Just they're so I don't know. So they're super fun. But you were super right. I won't ever forget it.
I love that. Well, and since we're already talking about family support and talking about just the past with YouTube, I have to bring this up just to get it out of the way. Just it was
Yeah,
in my notes to talk about a little bit later, but I'm just going to bring it up now. But I
sure.
saw a post this morning that I must have accidentally skipped over whenever I was getting ready to like prep for the interview and stuff like that. But it was about your America's Got Talent video, and I
Oh
totally
yeah.
just skipped over it. So if you could tell us a little bit about that, I think it was the coolest story ever. Go for it.
No, yeah. It was one of those things where now that like I'm several years beyond it, I think gosh, that must have been like 10 years, or I can't remember. I think I might have been 13 at the time. So geez, like yeah, like 16 years ago or whatever. So this is going way back. I don't know if this is whatever. I just have to I feel like I have to give ultimate like so much context to tell a story properly at least. So sorry if that's annoying. Like someone came up to my mom when I was like in a Target, like it was the same thing. It's like, does your son want to do acting? The whole thing. And so I started doing a lot of like background gigs as all the way from when I was 8. And so I started doing that just, pretty regularly, ended up getting like, a talent agent, the whole thing. So just kept doing it. And like my mom would also submit me to things too. And so I just started my freshman year of high school. She had gotten this email, like she checked her spam and she saw, sorry, I'm gonna reorient the mic here. My computer's here, my monitor's there. So I'm talking this way. So she had gotten this email saying like, "Oh, we'd love to have Olen come and audition for AGT," but it was months old at this point because they were asking me to audition for the LA one. Anyway, so my mom had responded and they were like, "Oh, well, the LA audition is passed, but we'd love to like have him come out and like audition in Houston." And so they flew me and my dad out to Houston, and we did the whole thing, like the whole like they did all the pre-interviews, and just kind of like they put us up in a hotel. Like it was one of those things where I was going in pretty like confident because like, oh, they must really want me to do this if they're gonna fly this random kid out, which, and I'm pretty sure too they had found me from a YouTube video. So uh you know I don't know if it was specific. I think it was I'd posted a train cover, a Hazel sister cover. And so I think they'd found that one. And so I went and, they did the whole thing. It was really fun process, at the time. Like I'd never been like in that setting. Like you feel like you're like, you're the talent, like, and anyways, they're very, very sweet and nice. And it was in Houston. And so I went out with my ukulele and went to play. And then like I get like 15 seconds in and I hear that first burr, which really sucked. And so from there, like I think eventually, I don't know, it's like one of those things where it's like it's like a trauma memory because I think I've like blurred like some of it I've really tried to forget because at the time I was so embarrassed. But I'm pretty sure that I want to say Howie was the first person to buzz me. And then it was Howie, Piers Morgan, and Sharon Osbourne. They were the panel at the time. And I just eventually all of them like they stopped me. And then like people started booing. And looking back to like I don't know, like I assume they were booing at me, but then I'm also like, oh, maybe because I see sometimes they like boo, like if they disagree with the judges or something, right? I don't know, and I'm gonna tell myself that that's also part of it, just for my own ego. But yeah, I only made it through like I don't know, like a minute of the song, and then I stopped, and then they proceeded to just kind of be like, that was like really, really fast. You seem very, very nervous, like just kind of right out the gates. Which again, I was super nervous. I don't recall being playing it super fast or anything. But I was definitely very nervous. And then I remember walking off of the stage, and then like they're interviewing me afterwards. And like the only thing I'm about to cry. And the only thing that I can say is like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong. And like I think after that they kind of just like, they got what they needed from it. And I remember the whole rest of that like year of school, I was like, they're gonna air this audition and all of my friends are gonna see me like totally fail on TV and get booed and this whole thing. And I was so embarrassed that that was gonna happen. And it never ended up airing. I saw like previews of it, like when they did like the Houston show or whatever. Like I was in like the background of the previews, like I could see myself and I was like, oh, fuck. Like everyone's gonna see this and I'm gonna be so embarrassed. And they never aired it. And which whether looking back, like even if they had, like I think the experience was so formative for me. Like looking back, it was something that like just getting told no on that level and then still being like, cool, I want to do this was very like very very important for me because it just meant that like I was in it, like it wasn't one big disappointment wasn't going to set me back. And so yeah, like I guess I'm just trying to succeed out of spite for for the AGT judges. I mean, no, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like I've used it as fuel and it's an experience that I'm glad to have had and like one that I can definitely laugh about now. And it's just, I don't know, it's just so, that whole thing was so weird and silly and fun and formative. But sorry, that's a lot, but that is the entire story for the most part.
I love it. Could you imagine if I was like, by the way, I found the unreleased clip. We're about to watch it.
I would be embarrassed, but I do think I've always wanted to hear what it sounded. I've always wanted to like, because again, while I was doing it and performing, like I don't remember. I don't remember actually how it went. Like in my mind, it wasn't going that terrible. That's why I was so like freaked out when I got buzzed. And I don't know. Like, and there's like definitely this like ego to me where I was like, they flew me out here. Like, I'm not gonna get buzzed. Like, I'm gonna make it. Duh. Like why would they waste all of this like time and energy on me if they're just, the judges are just gonna send me home. So again, yeah, I would love to see it actually if it exists out there, but I hope no one else ever has to.
I
Yeah.
love it. Well, and I feel like those are the emotions you kind of have to learn to go through if this is truly something you want to be in. And I thought that that
Yeah.
was a huge testament to, the fact that you've showed resilience and that you're still showing up and putting music out, and I definitely resonate to that. I come from the performing arts industry as well. And
Yeah.
there have been so many times where artists have entertained the idea of doing an episode with me. I get on a call, they never show up, and so I'm just there screen recording by myself. And I always tell my partner, I can't even imagine allowing that level of rejection where you feel humiliated, you feel so let down, to allow yourself to just take 10 steps back. If anything,
Right.
it fuels my fire. It makes me want to get the next guest and get up and show up again because, again, ultimately, we're doing this to fulfill our joy and our passions. So
100%. I agree completely.
well, and speaking of, these setbacks and these things that you have gone through, ironically, we're talking about this already, but your new song, Reason to Smile,
Yeah.
right? I
Uh-huh.
love it. I love that it just kind of flows right into what we're saying. You have to find a reason to, even on the shittiest of days. And sometimes it is really unfortunate that you have to learn that at a very young age while everyone else in the world is being protected. It's always the kids betting on themselves who are setting themselves up, face rejection at such an early age. But here
Yeah.
you are, 2024, putting out this new song. I absolutely love it. Congrats, by the way.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to ask you a couple questions about this song. Are you ready?
Of course.
The first line on this song that I want to talk to you about is filling the silence with bad TV. Love that line, by the way. What is
Thank you.
something that you would consider or that other people would consider bad TV that you indulge in?
I'm taking myself back to that like original because I wrote that song like in 2020. I had been by myself for most of that year. And so the Bad TV I'm pretty sure I'm referencing in that would have been the Listen to Your Heart, the Bachelor spin-off thing that they did. Like so it was Listen to Your Heart. I was watching with friends, like over Zoom at the time. And then pretty sure, yeah, I guess just probably The Bachelor and Bachelorette, even though it's like I don't think it is good TV in the sense that like people we watch like it's entertaining, but it's like I don't know. It's reality, manipulated reality, right? Like basically AGT, but just in a different the contest is different instead of the golden buzzer, they're going for the the ring.
Oh,
So
for sure.
I was definitely referencing Listen to Your Heart, which I would have enjoyed more seasons of. I'm pretty bummed that it was just the one because I think that would have been sick.
I never got into that one. I know that immediately when I heard that line, it reminded me of all the shit I had been talking about, like Love is Blind and Love Island. And then I
Yeah.
finally gave it a shot and I got suckered in so bad. So I'm like, bad TV that I indulge in would be those two for sure.
Straight up, yeah.
The next line I have for you is put some shoes on and walk a mile.
Yeah.
When's the last time you even walked a mile, Olin? And don't lie. When's the last time you did a full mile?
Oh, today. Yeah. This morning. Pally and I, Paloma, Pally for short. I try and get in the habit of like, I mean, it's even crazy. I just actually bought a weighted vest so I could like really maximize because like we usually walk for about an hour and like anything past that, like especially when it's hot or whatever, or it's like starting to get hot, like it just becomes like it becomes a huge endeavor. So we try and do like 3 miles in the morning. I do my best to, and like the vest helps me like because I'm trying to take care of myself and get in better shape and do the whole thing. So yeah, I walk a lot. So like probably at least 4 miles a day.
I love that. It definitely was just like, so I journal a lot when I listen to my guests' music and, things like that. And I'm like, oh, well, there's one line I can't fucking relate to because I'm not walking a mile anytime soon.
I don't know. I use it to like decompress and just like listen to music or, podcasts or whatever. It's like it's a restorative time. So I don't know. Put those headphones on and just go for it.
Oh, no, for sure. I mean, I do enjoy my walks with my girls, but it's definitely a stroll. And I definitely
Yeah.
don't count how many miles we're doing.
Hey, fair enough.
I love this song so much, by the way, and I was curious to think, is there a line you were expecting for me to bring up? Or what's
I
your
don't know.
favorite line in this song?
It's funny. I have these lyrics up because I was just submitting them for something. I think my favorite line would be, "Got some hot sauce with CBD, gonna save it, but I really only saved it for me." There was this bottle of on when I was on the road with, I think it would have been, I guess it was Transviolet or it might have been the last Alien AJ thing I did, but I had bought this like I'd found this like there was this barbecue place in or chicken place in I want to say Philadelphia. And they sold this like hot sauce that had like their special hot sauce or whatever, and it had CBD. I'd bought it specifically so I could give it to one of my friends, actually the dude who produced the last EP I put out, Ryan. And I was gonna bring it back for him, but then like it ended up just when the pandemic happened and everything. So yeah, it would have been the Transviolet tour. When the pandemic happened, like I didn't go back to LA, and so it just stayed with me, and so I just eventually just like started using it. So that was the line.
I love
That was
that.
yeah.
I mean, aside from what I consider good music, right? I mean, I'm not going to invite anyone who I think has shitty music, right?
There you
Aside
go.
from that, I love that your lines, there are so many lines that make me want to replay the song. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
awesome.
so many lines that I'm like, hold on, I got to watch it again, or I got to start the song over, backtrack. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
have a lot of this, which we're going to talk a little bit more about some music later on. But something I wanted to bring up with you, I noticed that in your bio on Spotify, I believe it's where I wrote it or I read it, it said something about a late bloomer. Do you
Mm.
consider yourself a late bloomer?
Yeah, I think in a lot of aspects. I mean, I was one of the shorter like people in my class, like growing up, like, high school. I don't think I didn't go through puberty really until like I was like 17. And so like for most of up until like, the middle of junior year of high school, I was short and I had like this super, pretty high voice. So I do think that, yeah, so it wasn't until about like junior year of high school that I started to, sort of grow and develop my current adult boy, and like my adult body. But yeah, I really do. And then like even in the sense of like other stuff too, like whether it's music or other life stuff, sometimes I just feel like, and again, I don't know how much of this is just self-fulfilling, but I do feel like sometimes it just takes me a second to like find my bearings or like get to where I want to go. And like I usually take I've been taking the scenic route for most things. That's why I definitely feel like a late bloomer.
I love that. What would you say is the most positive part, or what's the most, beneficial part? I don't really know how to word it. It's just a question that popped to my head. What would you say is the most positive side of being a late bloomer?
I would think that like I was in school for like when we like I was in a band and we all graduated high school. We were trying to do college and also do the band at the same time. And then we all dropped out of school to try and pursue the band. You know, at the time we were like, "Oh, you're going to be the next Maroon 5." You know, like this whole thing. Like there's all of these a lot of people have, you know, and for good reason I think that, you know, they'll give you hope and like you know, really butter you up and give you that confidence. And honestly, if I had like found any type of success that young, I think that I would have either A, just like completely squandered it, or B, just like not known, you know, I just didn't know enough about who I was as a human being at that age to then like take any of that like success or what would come with it and then like, you know, be responsible and like take care of myself and take care of others in a good way. Like I don't think I would be able to have done that. And so, and obviously it's not to say like, oh, years later I found it, blah blah blah, but I do think that like I'm more sure of who I am and like I have a more like, I don't know, it's just I'm definitely a little bit more pragmatic and I'm looking at the world in a more practical, like realistic way, I think, and also not like beating myself up for, you know, things that are out of my control. Versus like back then, I just would have been a mess. So I think that's probably the positive side is just like you get perspective when you're older, and so that's the answer.
Well, beautifully enough, you said scenic route. And I was like, that is so genius in a way, because you're
Mm.
absolutely right. When you take that scenic route, I don't know
I
how to
think
say
both are
it.
acceptable.
You know, when you take that, when you take that route, you're able to really take in a lot more than you would have back in the day. And I've talked about this very briefly, and I won't make this about me, but for me, it was definitely my green card process. And before I
Mm.
became a citizen, it was something that held me back from truly pursuing things I wanted to do with radio hosting and, things in that nature. But I do think it was
Yeah.
the universe kind of had its way of protecting me from something I wouldn't be able to cherish. And I wouldn't be able to do it the way I'm executing it now back then. So late bloomers, it's a beautiful thing. It can be a beautiful thing.
I 100% agree. Super glad that it's worked out for you too, and you're able to be able to do this. Because I know that, and again, I know you said not to make it about you. It says like you are a choreographer. That was your main way into to entertainment, right? Before
Yes.
getting into podcasting and everything. Okay, okay, cool. So that's I just wanted to make sure. But are you still actively choreographing?
No, not at all. I'm fully
Hmm.
retired. I am out of the world completely. Now I'm truly just doing the one thing that I was always so afraid to do before. And that was, I
Hmm.
haven't really talked about this ever. So it's funny you say that, because I had actually had a couple of opportunities back in the day to be a radio host, but
Hmm.
fear totally locked in. And I was so afraid to do anything without my green card. I was so dead set on, I want to get my green card first. I don't want to commit to anything other than being like an independent contractor and working on my own. And
Yeah.
so I didn't take those opportunities, and then it was game over once I got all my shit figured out.
Right. Right. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad it's all worked out.
Thank you so much for saying that. I want to talk about your music video for Broke.
Yeah.
Very quickly, who came up with the video concept to this? Because to me, this was pure fucking art. I loved everything about it. And also, is there a connection or like a little minor tribute to your song Waffles in that video?
Oh, yeah. Yes and yes. The person who came up with the idea is now a very good friend of mine. His name is Michael Cunningham. He is a fantastic director, actor, and just like just yeah, just a really wonderful human. So shouts out Michael. It was just one of those things. So like he had asked me to score like yeah score he because he was doing this like YouTube series where he was basically auditioning to be Wolverine. Like he was supposed to be the new Wolverine. And so he'd asked me to come up with like a little bit of music for the end of the sketch. And so I, you know, worked on it, sent it to him. And mind you too, like our mutual friend, his name is Connor, Connor Jenkins. He mixed Broke. He's a really awesome audio engineer and mixer. And so we met through Connor. And so yeah, we were just hanging out and then like he had asked me to contribute to this and then I sent it and I was like, okay, awesome. Like I'm glad to have done that because I'd never done that before. And then he was just like, I have an idea for Broke if you want to do a music video for it. And it's one of those things where like I love working with friends, but at the same time too, like I also being in the industry, like I don't ever want to feel like somebody is being like used or like especially too because like I was like hey I don't have a budget like because there was no I had no plan to do a video for it because I'm independent and just putting out music as best I can and so I was pretty weird. I was like I just I don't have any I don't there's no plan, there's no money in it, but he's like I really believe in the song. I think this idea could be sick. Like I would love to just do this video if if you'll let me. And so yeah, he came up with the whole concept, like the whole treatment, the whole thing, filmed the entire thing. I mean, essentially by himself. He came up with a with all of it and edited it and like did it in like a matter of a week. And again, like it is like it's just cool to work with people that are creating for the sake of creating. Like he had this idea and he wanted to get it out there. And like I would let hopefully it also like he's showing it at a like a shorts night at the Formosa on August 4th. I want to say 4th or something. I don't know when if this will come out. It'll probably be past that. But like hopefully like it helps like with his reel and other stuff too, because it's been super helpful for me to have like a piece of like visual media for the songs. And just because all of that stuff, like when you're in the past when I've done it, it's like it's just expensive to do it right. And so it is cool to like get to work with people, like obviously too, in a perfect world I would love to have the big budget. I'd love to give it to my friends. I'd love to make cool stuff, but it is also very cool to work with people that are just like, I love this song, I love you, let's just fucking do it. Sorry, that was the again. I give the roundabout or like the long-winded answer every time, so I don't know, but that's that he came up with all of the ideas, and I just kind of played into it.
Well, just a reminder, this is called Unshut for a reason. I'll never tell anyone to shut the fuck up. That was definitely my thing growing up. It's how
Yeah.
this even got its title. It's because on all my report cards, it always said, talks too much, talks too much, talks too much. So
Okay, well, I'm glad I'm in the right place.
exactly. You're just in the right place for sure. I wanted to ask you, in honor of waffles, I'm going to give you three breakfast dishes, and I want you to tell me what those songs would be about. Even if you don't know what this breakfast dish is, make it
Okay.
up as you go. Are you ready?
Yep.
We'll start easy. The first one's going to be pancakes.
Pancakes. If I was writing a song called Pancakes, it would be about going to this little breakfast diner that I love called Snooty Fox, which is just like a couple miles away from where I live. And it'd be about like enjoying people watching the people that are there. That's what we'd call it, over pancakes.
I love that. What about cereal?
Okay, cereal's a little different. Cereal is about not having left your house for a week and just really being stuck in it, And just kind of like the only thing you've eaten is cereal, and the only hope you have is tomorrow's cereal. I don't know.
I love it. Very random, just because it just came to mind right now. There
Hmm.
was this debate I read years ago, and I want to get your opinion on it just because we're talking about cereal now. Is
Hmm.
cereal, in your opinion, a snack or a meal?
Oh, it's a meal. It's a meal. I mean, I don't know. I would consider oatmeal is in the cereal family, Is that is
Yeah.
that is that crazy to say? I don't know. I feel like or like, there's some really hearty cereals. So I would say I would count cereal as a meal. I don't know where you fall on it, but I'm gonna go with meal.
No, I love that so much because I have always said in those debates, if it's like a cereal with raisins and almonds or fruit, it's for sure a meal. But if it's like
Yeah.
fucking Lucky Charms, then that's definitely a snack.
I would say that. That makes sense. I agree with you there.
I love that. The third and final one I have for this is shakshuka. Have you ever heard of this, and what would this be about?
Shakshuka. No, I've never heard of it. Do
So
I have
you
to figure out what the song's about without knowing what the thing is?
absolutely.
Shakshuka. It's about driving all night. That's what Shakshuka's about. That's yeah. I don't know what it is, but please enlighten me.
Some say it's an African dish, some say it's an Israeli dish. So I don't really know, to be honest, but it's one of my favorites. And
Hmm.
it's basically a skillet with like a tomato type of base with chorizo. You can put other meats in it, but then you crack eggs in it and then put it in the oven. And it's so fucking good. It's one of my favorites. So,
Ooh, I'm gonna write that down because that does sound good. Can you tell me how to spell that?
yes, it's
Mm-hmm.
CHAKSHUKA.
Cool. Okay, I'll check it out.
And if you hate it, just pretend I didn't tell you anything about it, okay?
Fair enough. I'm kind of like a goat, so it's like if it's food, it's fine.
I love that, which we're going to talk a little bit more about food, but I promise you, Olin, it's all going to make sense at the end, okay? So don't be like,
Okay,
what the
deal.
fuck is this? Is this the Food Network? What the fuck, okay?
Hey, I watched The Bear, so I'm pretty into it.
I love that. You recently said if your music could be a dish, it would be pizza. I'm going to give you some pizza items, and you tell me if it's Olin approved or not. Cauliflower crust,
Yes.
olives,
Yes.
pineapples,
Yes.
cold pizza in the morning.
Yes.
I love it. All right, you were yes to all of them.
I don't know if you've ever been to those pizza buffet type vibe or like the Chipotle of pizza, Blaze maybe, or like There's other ones, but like I always go there and my pizzas look like just horrendous. Like they're just like stacked. Like they're like, kill me. Like they look like just these awful odd creations. So anything goes on pizza as far as I'm concerned.
I love that. I love that you saying this because this totally goes with everything I journaled about you. I'll read it to you. I wrote between waffles, pizza, and a photo shoot inside a donut shop, eating a banana to promote a song. I wonder if he considers himself a foodie. So do you?
I don't consider myself a foodie in the sense that like I don't have a refined palate. I wouldn't say that. I will eat like mostly anything. So if being a foodie means that I will eat all of the food, then sure, I'm a foodie. Like I had oatmeal like every day for like a year, like every single day. Like I didn't deviate. I don't, I don't know why. Or like I'm always like I would like blend spinach with it. This is gross because I was like trying to get it to be like more nutritious. I don't know, just crazy stuff. So I'm definitely not a foodie. I'm definitely like I will destroy a foodie's dreams by
Well,
telling them what I eat.
I feel like this was meant to be because I love spinach and that as well. And if you've never had radish leaves in your smoothie, it's so
Ooh.
fucking good. So give it a shot.
Yeah, radish leaves. Never had that. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Did you catch my banana reference though? Do you know what video I was referring to? You have to.
Yeah, the one with Colin, like Little Hurt.
Yes.
And we were promoting our song Sad Like This.
Yes.
Outside of a grocery store in I think we were in like like Woodland Hills area. I don't know. But yeah, it's that was fun. I mean, shooting content nowadays is like such it's just such a trip. Like I don't know, no one knows what's work. I mean, if I guess there are people who know what's gonna work, but for us, like, yeah, we just went to the grocery store, we just grabbed fruit, just ate it. And we're like, listen to our song. I don't know.
Well, you definitely got a few, maybe several views from me because it took me a minute to figure out how exactly you were eating the banana. And it wasn't until I got into the comments that I'm like, wait, what? So I went back and rewatched it. And then I'm like, wait, what about his? So then I went back to watch it again to watch what he was doing with his banana. Fucking genius. So whoever came up with that idea, I love you. It made me want to eat a banana.
Hey, get your potassium up. No cramps in here.
Absolutely. The donut shop was the cover art to your song Power Socket. Am I correct?
So, wait, let me double check. I remember my stuff. I know. Let me see here. Oh yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Sorry, it's just taking me a second. But yeah, so that actually is like a Panderia, like a bakery in Highland Park. And Ryan, the producer of that song and the last record or EP and the EP before that even lived like it was a 5 minute walk from his house. And whenever we needed to take a break, we would just walk over there. And it's called La Perla Bakery. It's off of Figueroa and like Springdale. I don't know, but it's a wonderful, wonderful like family owned like bakery, and they were super cool. They even let me during that day. The album cover for So Codependent is in that bakery as well. Like we were just like, would you be down to just let me play play around with some flour? And they were super cool, and so they just said yeah. And yeah, so shouts out La Perla Bakery in Highland Park.
Well, I'm trying to not interrupt you and freak the fuck out because that's exactly where I'm from. And
Oh
I
no
know
way.
exactly where it's at. Yes, I know Figueroa Street. I think that's the craziest shit ever.
No way. You're from like Highland Park?
Yes, that's
Oh.
exactly. I lived in Highland Park and I also lived a little bit between like Highland Park and like Pasadena
Mm.
area. But Highland Park is where I lived the longest right before I left California. So that's so funny.
It is, if I could live anywhere in LA, I would live there or like Eagle Rock or like Pasadena. It's just so close to everything, but a little bit removed, is a little bit more neighborhoody. I don't know. I love like the houses and like the just yeah, like that whole area is so nice and inspiring. So yeah, I'm jealous you got to live there. I would love to eventually live there.
Well, I mean, it was fucking ghetto when I lived there, so I'm sure
Mm.
it's nice now.
Yeah, I mean, I've had nothing but awesome experiences there.
I loved growing up there. I mean, I got to watch like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They did some shootings around there. I saw like Nelly Furtado do a music video there too. So it definitely was a great area. I was totally joking about it being fucking ghetto. It was a little bit on the hood side when I was younger, but it's yes, I Highland Park, shout out. I love it.
Shouts out Highland Park. I have a song coming out called, or not coming out. I mean, it's done. I don't know when it's gonna come out, but it's called Highland Park. So
Stop.
yeah, I'm all in on the Highland Park thing.
Oh my gosh, you guys, Olin wrote a song about me. How cool.
It's a pretty depressing song, so I'm sorry.
I love that. Cannot wait to hear it. Is there a connection to power socket and off switch at all?
Not intentionally, that's for sure. But like, I guess I do like my electricity themed things. But yeah, there's no real connection other than the names.
I was like, he must be an electrician or something.
Dude, I wish it would be such a useful skill set.
For sure. Is there a connection between your song name and your song I've Got a Name?
Not really. I think just written different places. I mean, actually written by some of the same people. Like Ryan also wrote on Name, the guy who wrote and produced Got a Name with me. But yeah, no connection there.
I love it. I love that your music made me want to go into this like deep rabbit hole type of thing with connecting your music together. So thank you for never stopping to put out music even after getting the fucking buzzard because you never know who's going to come across it. And I'm telling you right now, I had so much fun listening to your catalog and it really did inspire a lot, which is why I have a fuck ton of questions for you. You ready?
Yeah, no, again, I'm super appreciative of that.
For sure. I know that you co-wrote Stomach with the iconic Ali and AJ, which you had talked about it a little bit ago, going on
Mhm.
tour with them and everything. If there was an Ali and AJ song that you wish you could say you wrote, which one would it be?
Oh, I love them and I love their new music. Okay, the song that I wish that I wrote would be Take Me off of the 10 Years EP. It's towards the end of the Sanctuary tour that we did with them. Like I got to go out on stage and do that song with them and it was so fun. It's just such a banger of a song. The production's crazy. Shouts out Ryan. Ryan also produced that song and they kill it. Like I don't know, just like I love them.
What an amazing experience, like being able to get connected to those two and do everything that you're doing. I mean, I feel like that is like the universe, again, rewarding you for not stopping because of a buzzard. I fucking love that.
Hey, yeah, me too.
So I have some random questions for you. So I'm going to shoot them quickly to you.
I'm ready.
On Spotify, why is your song Portland Olen featuring Olen? Have you noticed that?
Oh no. I That's interesting. That's something I should probably fix. Well, so so when we were touring with Ali and AJ, the project was called Armors, and it was like one of those things where like I was the last like original person in the band from when we all like dropped out of school and did the whole thing, and so I'd kept the name because it felt like like I'd been touring under it and like promoting it, and so there was a bit of like indecision on my part where I was like, oh, do I want to just keep releasing music under the name or like put music out under my own name because and but like I still stood behind the music I'd put out in the past with the band too. And so I wanted to keep doing it, keep performing it. And so I thought like one of the ideas we had was like we'll make a separate Spotify page, but then like we'll connect the old music to it. So it's just like this whole it was just a I guess just a logistical issue with Spotify because that's a pretty funny there. Yeah, I think it's Olin Kittleson actually. It's like under my like complete name or whatever. So yeah, it was just that's just a mistake, but I am aware of it.
Not me stumbling across this and being like, wow, this is so iconic. He features himself in a song. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, just pure ego.
I love that. That was like, this is some true iconic behavior. I fucking love that.
There we go.
In a post, you said back of a 55-year-old and ass of a 29-year-old. What's going on with your back, dude? You got back problems?
Yeah, I do. During the pandemic and even now, like I'll work in like live audio. I'll freelance doing some live audio stuff. And I was lifting up a subwoofer and I totally threw up my back. It was a total bummer, but it's one of those things that like, and it's still, it's still affecting me, but I think it's also I'm trying to like stay and get in better shape so like I can not have those issues, or at least like mitigate those issues because like, I mean, genetically, I'm probably kind of screwed. Like my dad's had two back surgeries too. So it's like, are probably just like kind of the cosmic lottery that I've been dealt or the hand I've been dealt. So yeah, my back's a little fucked up, but it's definitely not as debilitating as it could be. And I've definitely like recovered quite a bit from when that injury happened.
All right. Well, just don't stop going on walks. I do always say, and this is so funny you say this because I will always say that my girls totally are a huge factor as to why my back is doing better because I'm so committed to taking them for walks.
Yeah.
And so I had spinal issues as well. And taking them for walks is like the best thing for your back. So it helps
Yeah.
with the
I've heard that too.
spasms. So
Is there anything else specifically that you've done that's like that you've noticed a marked difference in like how you feel day to day?
To be honest with you, a lot of turmeric really did help.
Mm,
I know
okay.
it's like the weirdest thing ever, but it really did help as an anti-inflammatory for me when I was having spasms and dealing with sciatica. So
Yeah.
definitely turmeric with cayenne pepper was like a huge savior for me, but walking it off, don't try to like stretch it out too much. For me, it was walks that really saved my back. It was just starting to go on walks. So,
Okay, wow. Okay, that's good. I've noticed that too with my walks. I think my back always does feel better after a long walk.
all right, look at us just healing each other's backs today. You had posted a picture with your neck brace of, or your neck thing of Bucky's. So I wanted to ask
Oh
you
yeah. Yeah, my pillow.
when, yes, your pillow, your neck pillow, did you think Bucky's was overwhelming or were you underwhelmed?
I mean, it's funny you say that because here we go. I'm drinking out of my Bucky's
Stop.
tumbler right now. Um, to me, it's basically Disneyland. It's the perfect amount of whelming. It's overwhelming after you haven't been there for a while. Like I was recently in Texas like a couple months ago, and going in for the first time, it took me a second to readjust because like, oh my God, it doesn't seem like there should be this many people in here. Like it seems like a fire hazard. But I think it's the perfect amount of whelming. I love Bucky's. I will never ever say a bad thing about my beaver.
I love that. I love that. The cover art in 13, was that
Mhm.
really a school bio or was that something was just cover art?
So that's my school photo from eighth grade, I want to say, but I'm pretty sure I edited some of it. I think some of those answers are real too. So, which is kind of funny.
I love that. And this one is just the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
If hell is a silhouette and heaven is a cigarette, what is Earth?
Oh, that's awesome. That's a 1990 Nowhere shout out, Chris or Lost Boy Crow. He wrote that line. Earth is an edible.
I love that. Do you think Honda Civic still would have happened had you drove a different car?
No, no. I think Honda Civic happened because of that, because of that Honda Civic. It's actually still like in my family. Like it gets like passed around between like whose car is struggling the most. Like my sister had been driving it for a while, and now it's back with my parents. But like it's a car that'll probably run forever. But it is like there's a cracked windshield. Like you can't roll down the windows. It's like totally falling apart. But that car has a very specific energy.
I love that. That is so
Yeah.
awesome. I wasn't sure if it was truly a car that you had or just an inspo thing. So that's a very fun fact for me.
Yeah, real car, still drives.
The next random question I have for you is, what is your connection to Duluth, Minnesota? What brought you out there?
So my parents actually met in Minnesota, and my aunt and uncle, one of my aunts and uncles live in this place called Shell Lake, Wisconsin, which is close to Duluth, like a couple hour drive to Duluth. And so we just wanted to go see the Great Lakes. We were, fortunate enough to go visit them over this, maybe it was 2 summers ago now. I can't remember. But yeah, so that's the only connection to Duluth is that I've got a lot of family from the Midwest.
Very cool. It's definitely my favorite place in the entire US. And when I came across that picture, I started laughing because so many people for so many years, and of course, being on tour, doing all these things I've done, everyone would always ask me, where's your favorite place to go? I'm like, Duluth, Minnesota. I love going on a hike, eating berries on my way to the top, and going for a dip in the black sand lake. It's just my favorite thing. So I started laughing when I saw that.
No way. When did you discover Duluth then?
It was a cheerleading program that hired me out. They were in Duluth, Minnesota. And this was, I want to say, maybe 6 to 8 years ago. It was a really long time. And I remember just being so excited because they had already sent me pictures of a lake and I love the
Mm.
lake. But when I got there, it was so not what I expected. It was the most beautiful place I had ever been to. And so when they booked me again, I told them, yes, they could book me, but I had to have extra days to go on that hike again.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's my favorite place in the US. It's always so random for people, but I'm like, go to Duluth, Minnesota. It's the best place ever.
That is super random, but being there, I get it. It is a wonderful, wonderful spot.
The last thing I want to do with you, Olin, is I came up with this little game, I guess you can call, that's called $20 to make Olin holla, okay?
Okay.
First one I have for you is for $20, would you eat dry, stale waffles for a full day?
Yes. Yeah, easy.
I love that. For $20, what kind of shot would you take from a plastic water gun?
Ooh, what kind? I don't know. I think all of it. It's fine. I don't like I'd do like probably what isn't vodka supposed to be tasteless? I would do that.
I think it's like if you put, I haven't tried it yet, I'm too afraid to, but I think it's if you mix vodka with tequila, it's supposed to taste like water.
Are you serious?
It's dead serious.
Oh my God. That is dangerous information. I will give it a shot.
And that's exactly why I haven't tried it. So you try it, let me know, and then I'll.
Like, oh gosh. Yeah, so I'd probably be that. Just for the memes, I would try that.
Perfect.
The concoction.
So if 2024, our highlight is that we got our stomachs pumped, we know it was because of this episode.
There you go. Everyone will trace it right back to here. And again, chalk it up to a new experience. Who cares?
Exactly. Who cares? For $20, could you go an entire day only using plastic mini hands?
Yeah, I mean, I would again, like, yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like if you hand me $20 and you're like, you have to use these hands, as long as I don't have to complete like a real task. Like if I can just like sit around and then like if I can operate a keyboard, I could still be productive on some sense. And if it's just like a lazy day, then sure. But if you told me that I had to like go grocery shopping or something, then no, it's not worth it. But if I get to control what I'm doing, then yes.
I love that. Such a good answer. I definitely don't know how I would wipe my ass using mini hands like that, but
What's it called? What is the thing that you can take that constipates you?
I don't know.
I would take whatever that is and just or just eat a whole bunch of cheese.
Exactly. But if you do figure it out, if you do ever have to wear mini hands to wipe your ass, let me know.
If I found myself in that situation, something's gone horribly wrong.
Do you have any idea where I got the inspo for that question?
Yes, the broke music video.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, because Michael had this pair of tiny hands that he was really intent because he had this very tiny Rubik's cube too. So he was like, we got it. We got to do it. So
I love it. I thought the plastic water guns was going to be a little bit too obvious. So I'm like, let me ask him one that I don't think he'll get, but you got it. So it's all good.
yeah,
For $20, would you sign your dog up for a tennis tournament?
no, no, she would terrorize everybody. Like I love her so much, but that amount of people with like that amount of like those amount of tennis balls, she'd freak out. She doesn't have a good court sense. We're still working on her ground strokes, so she's not ready, but eventually.
That's your dog on that video, though, right?
Oh yeah, that's her.
That is I mean, literally, I was like, listen, my standard poodles, they are so fucking smart and they're incredible. That outdid my poodle. So
Paloma is she's a genius as far as I'm concerned, but she's not ready for the tournaments just yet. There's too much pressure. Tennis is a head game, and I want to protect her from that.
I love that. Well, thanks to Paloma, we're definitely going to go to fucking boot camp with my poodles. They need to be playing soccer, basketball, football.
Air Poodle, Air Bud. God, I love Air Bud, but
I
yeah.
love it too. That's awesome. So, the last thing I have for you, can you please tell everyone what to expect in 2024 from you? New music. I know you already hinted at some new music coming out, but what else is in
Yeah.
store for you this year?
I would love to get back out on the road first and foremost. I tried to do like a song a month, but I think I got a little ahead of myself and life got in the way. So I'm gonna do my best to like get back on that and keep going because like as an indie artist too, like I'm doing my best to do most of the production on my own and as much of the songwriting on my own as I can just because like I love working with people, but I also think there's something really valuable in having to like just do it yourself and like learn and like make those mistakes yourself and like not having to rely on other people like to have a career. I think like because I've worked with producers and other songwriters and stuff over the course of my career, but ultimately the only like the person who's got to want it the most and like is got to be you. And so I think forcing myself to be self-sufficient, while it might slow things down in some regards, I think it's helping me as a musician and like also like making sure that everything that I do put out is something that's personal and special to me. So I'd love to get back on the road, but expect more singles and definitely at least an EP this year.
I get butterflies hearing you talk because it takes me back to something you talked about the scenic route. And
Mm.
I'm just like, you know what? People have got to start thinking that quick fame, that quick success is their ticket way in. There's so much longevity that comes with learning the ropes on your own, figuring it out as you go, troubleshooting everything that you're doing. And I think you're the perfect example of that because here you are after putting things on YouTube as a child, being rejected many times. And I'm sure rejection's still going to come, but you're still doing this. And in my opinion, you don't have any shitty songs. I am obsessed with everything you're doing. So I love that.
Thank you so much, Mo. This has been like the most fun interview I've ever done, actually. You've done a fantastic job, and I wish continued success. So thank you so much for taking the time to interview me and elevate me. And again, like what a fantastic process. So thank you so much for having me.
Well, it means a lot coming from someone like you who is just an incredible lyricist, and I love everything you're doing. So thank you so much for your time, and I cannot wait to see everything else you do, and can't wait to listen to Highland Park.
Awesome. As soon as it's fully mixed, I'll send you it.
Can't wait.
Thank you, Mo.
Alrighty, take care.
Bye. You too.
Bye. Hey, if you've made it this far, don't forget to follow the socials on the screen or in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you next week.